This video will be covering what to look for in an ideal posture with particular regards to using a plumb line in a static position. So the first thing, if you are someone who is asked to evaluate a posture, one of the first things that you can look at that's going to help you, especially before you even get in front of the plumb line, is just looking at basic body types. So this may be something you've heard from a previous class. If not, you can hear it now. So there's three basic body types that we kind of divide people into. So we're going to have an ectomorph, an endomorph, and a mesomorph. So the ectomorph is characterized by long and slender. So people that are long and slender, they tend to have a narrower stance width. They might have a larger carrying angle. They might have some genu recurvatum. As you get more and more familiar with it, being able to identify someone as an ectomorph will mean more and more to you as you study more and more about posture. But for now, the thing I want you to just realize is that there is a type of body that we develop as an ectomorph, and an ectomorph is typically long and slender. An endomorph is going to be characterized by someone who is shorter and stockier. Okay, so again, as you study posture more and more, that would probably begin to mean something more to you. But for right now, I just want you to realize that there is a body type called an endomorph body type, and it's generally characterized by someone that is shorter and then stockier, right? And there's some things down here that you can look at that help you identify some of those postural things you might look at if someone is an endomorph. Finally is a mesomorph body type. This is characterized by a muscular or sturdy build. For sure, I always thought that it was a very sturdy build. It's also typically thought of as a very good or correct body posture. They generally have a good stance width. You're going to see on the muscles, they tend to not display as much of the muscular imbalances as some of the other people. And so the last body type is that mesomorph. So now let's look at what we should be seeing as we move in front of the plumb line. So the plumb line in this image is this black line right here that's going down this person. We will use in class a plumb line to help us look at some postures on each other. So as this plumb line runs down this person, again, this is an ideal alignment. That plumb line should hit the mastoid process, run just posterior to the ear. It should go right through the cervical vertebrae bodies. It's going to bisect the shoulder, run down, hit the greater trochanter at the femur, bisect the knee, and then run just anterior to the lateral malleolus on the individual. You can look here and see some of those postural alignments. Here's that skeleton, right? We're going to go through those cervical vertebral bodies. We're going to be in front of the thoracic vertebrae. We're going to bisect the lumbar vertebrae, greater trochanter here, bisect the knee, run just anterior to that lateral malleolus. Moving on down. So this is just what I just said in words. So someone with an ideal plumb line postural alignment is going to hit mastoid process, cervical vertebrae, anterior to thoracic spine, bisects thoracolumbar spine, right, posterior to the lumbar spine, goes through the shoulder joint, greater trochanter, the knee, and then just in front of that lateral malleolus. So now moving on, these next couple slides, this is an ideal alignment. This is an ideal alignment with that person now bent over. This is getting at that Adams forward bend test. So you can see here an ideal alignment as that person bends over. Okay. This image here, so this little girl, she is in an ideal alignment there. You can see that, right? Mastoid process, bisects the knee, hits the greater trochanter, bisects the shoulder, bisects the knee, and then she may have a little bit of recurvatum, but in general, this is a pretty ideal alignment. And then you can use picture B and picture C and think about, oh, this is not an ideal alignment. You can even take a moment and, for a bonus point, see if you can identify which postures these two are exhibiting with their stances. So now let's move into a posterior view with that plumb line. So The person should be standing with their feet equal distances from the plumb line. So the plumb line should be right in the middle of their stance width. And then the line should divide the body into exactly equal halves, which you will see here. That plumb line, it's harder to see down here, but you can see it come into view, especially as it hits the back here above that gluteal crease. The head is a little bit off center in this image, so that's probably not ideal. You can see the skeleton, how they should be. So from a posterior view, we should hit that gluteal crease. We should bisect the vertebral processes all the way up. We should hit that external occipital protuberance and then up through the body. And I think that's all I'll say about that. From this posterior view, I hope is one that's fairly intuitive as you look at it, just dividing the body into those equal halves. So an anterior view is actually a similar idea. We're just going to be looking for some different anatomical landmarks again. So we're going to go right through the umbilicus. We're going to go through the pubic symphysis. We're going to go right through the sternum. And hopefully through the xiphoid process of the sternum. We're going to go right through the nose and hopefully divide that face right in half and have really good symmetry. That's generally the thing you look for on a postural analysis from an anterior view. So just getting it that division, that symmetry, we should see symmetry in the ribs. We should see symmetry in the pelvis at the waist angles, the ASIS, et cetera, et cetera. We can look at the things in the elbows, right? Do they come out evenly, or is there some asymmetry there? Are the knees straight? So we're not going to see the genu recurvatum from this front view, but we are definitely going to see the genu varum or the genu valgum. The feet should be equal distance apart, right? We can actually look at those arches and see how many toes we feel like we see. So this anterior view and that posterior view, I would include that. They can actually tell us quite a bit as long as we're just looking for symmetry. You can even look at the muscular symmetry and make sure you feel like that's fairly even as well. And I'm going to stop that video right here. That finishes up this video of an ideal postural alignment.